My name is Anika Jane Dorothy. I am currently a member of the Generation Equality Global Youth Task Force and a representative to the core group of the Generation Equality. And I'm also the East Africa coordinator for Amplify Girls in East Africa. My understanding of the feminist movement is a coming together in solidarity towards the common cause of achieving gender equality across the world. It is the organizing, the solidarity, the agitation, the lobbying, and the advocacy for gender equality for women and girls across the world. When I was in campus doing my undergraduate at the University of Nairobi, I ran for office as a vice chair. And that is when I realized that there are really deep structural issues, patriarchal issues that prevent women from rising to the level of leadership. In an executive of 19, ordinarily only 3 women would make into office. And that would ordinarily be the gender officer, the treasurer, one of the roles that were not as prominent. So I realized that young women were really afraid of running for office because it was marred by violence, it was brutal, it was expensive, and it was really difficult. As luck would have it, in the following year, the president of Kenya said, we need to have a rapid results initiative across all public institutions. And that gave us a leeway as the student body to replicate the student constitution in line with the Kenyan constitution. And so I got the privilege to be the chair of this auspicious body. What we were able to achieve as a committee of very few women was to lobby the entire committee of 44 to allow for the topmost seat, which is president of the student councils, to have a running mate of opposite gender. This guaranteed and ensured that at least in the governing body, we would have a deputy or a president of opposite gender, and that was a win. In addition, we realized that young women were really afraid of joining politics, of being in decision making. They were afraid of the victimization that came with leadership. So we decided to set up 5 extra seats that were reserved for women for a period of time to allow them to compete at least amongst each other. This created a new crop of leadership, bold and progressive young women who felt like they could then go for other seats. As we speak today, the chair of the Student Council in the University of Nairobi for the first time is a woman. And that is a win, it is a victory for those of us who fought for this progressive equity so many years ago in the year 2014. It is a big problem right now and a big issue, a pertinent issue, that young people still feel that as much as they are part of the process, but their opinions are not being heard. Their contributions are not being carried as weighty decision-making authorities. So how do we change this narrative? It is a long journey. We are trying to change the status quo, noting that global spaces are really and highly political because global spaces are informed and influenced by governments, and governments are results of politics and political parties. So what is important is to influence our governments to ensure that within our governments, we have the institutionalization of young people's leadership, not only in the Ministry of Youth, but across all sectors of government, committees, task forces, and commissions to ensure that the policies and interventions formulated by government for young people have young people in them. And this does not mean having them as participants or stakeholders in a meeting. It means giving them leadership in ministries and in these commissions. It means that in a government delegation to, for example, COP26, a young person who's probably an assistant minister or a cabinet administrative secretary will get the opportunity to represent their country in such deliberations and therefore represent young people. We cannot continue to say that we'll give young people a chance, but they're not in spaces of leadership that ultimately create decisions and policies for young people. One such instance right now is during COVID response. When we say we are building back better, that we are building for the economy, it is the youth who are the backbone of this economy. And looking at the recovery plan, where do the youth feature prominently? And not only that, who are in these spaces creating these policies for building back better? Look around you. Do you see a youth at the table? And if not, please check again. You urgently need to change. So yes, I think we are making progress. It is slow and it is difficult. It is as well painful, because to create space for others means that others will be pushed out. And change is not always comfortable. It's not always progressive to some people, but it is necessary to ensure that we grow and evolve to a better, a just, and equitable society. Young people coming from the grassroots, leading startups, leading community-driven organizations, starting movements, are here to tell the Generation Equality Forum and the Action Coalition specifically that we need to change the way we are funding young people. We need to change the way we are funding community-driven organizations. We need to do away with these complicated funding applications and create a clear, simple, and precise template for young people to be adequately resourced. We need to be able to ensure that the action coalitions do not leave girls behind, do not leave girls' education behind, because in the context of COVID, around 20 million girls already are not going back to school. Young people are ensuring that each constituency of youth are not left behind in all their diversities. So we are championing persons with disabilities. We are championing girls' education. We are championing indigenous people and community-driven organizations where we come from to ensure that truly the Generation Equality Forum becomes as representative, as intersectional, and as intergenerational as it aimed to be. So to young feminists, to those who look like me, to those who are like me, I say to you today, you have to start from somewhere. You have to take the step to create change, not in the dreams of the global platforms, but in your community, in your homestead, in your society. You need to reach out to the girl you have been thinking about. You need to reach out to the woman you have been feeling has been neglected. Most importantly, you need to speak up, because your voice is not only yours, but it is a voice of all the girls of around the world who look like you and who feel like you. So speak up now and speak for all of us.